Okay, so when you hear the word flood, what comes to mind? Right? Submerged cars, basements full of water. But what if I told you one of the biggest dangers is hiding in plain sight, inside our tallest buildings? I'm talking about elevators. Yeah, the ones we ride every single day without a second thought. Just look at this number, 1,633. That's how many elevators flooded in South Korea alone in just a 3-year span. No, that's not a typo. Over 1,600. This isn't just, a small maintenance issue. It's a massive weak spot, a huge vulnerability that's built right into the bones of our cities. And it shows just how unprepared we really are for the kind of weather we're seeing more and more. So really, it forces you to ask the question, right? Think about it. The next time there's a serious downpour and you see the water rising, what's going to happen to the elevator where you live or where you work? Is it actually safe? Or is it a trap you've never even thought about until now? All right, so how do you even begin to fight a problem like this? Well, let's take a look at a company that's leading the charge. We're going to use Hyundai Elevator as a case study here, because after seeing all that devastation, they decided, okay, we've got to tackle this head on. And they really dug in. I mean, they inspected 225 of these damaged elevators, and a pattern started to emerge, a really clear one. This wasn't just bad luck. The damage was happening because of the same predictable failures over and over again. Things like, basic structural weaknesses, a complete lack of any kind of early warning system, and get this, all the critical electrical components were just sitting there, totally exposed at the very bottom of the shaft, which is, of course, the first place all the water goes. And this quote from someone at Hyundai it really hits the nail on the head. Early detection is the key to saving lives and minimizing financial damage. See, it's not about trying to build some kind of flood-proof super elevator. It's about making the elevator smart enough to save itself. That early warning, it's not just a nice little feature, it's everything. It's the whole ballgame. Kind of like a smoke detector, but for water. So what they came up with is actually pretty brilliant in its simplicity. It's this automated 4-step safety plan. Check this out. Step 1, sensors down in the elevator pit detect water, the very first sign of trouble. Step 2, boom, an alarm goes off, letting building management and anyone inside know what's happening. Step 3, and this is the crucial part, the system doesn't wait for someone to push a button. It automatically sends the elevator car up to a designated safe floor, usually somewhere in the middle of the building, high and dry. And finally, step 4, the doors open, you get out, and the whole system powers down to stop any chance of a massive electrical failure. It's just elegant. Okay, so what Hyundai is doing is incredible, but it also shines a spotlight on a much, much bigger issue. Because let's be real, this isn't just a problem in South Korea. As our cities keep building up and our storms keep getting more intense, this drowning elevator problem, it's a threat for every single major city on the planet. I'm talking New York, Tokyo, London, you name it. And the consequences, wow, they are just devastating. It's like a domino effect of failure. First, you have the absolute terror of people getting trapped. That alone is horrifying. And tragically, it can and does lead to death. Then, for the building itself, you're looking at crippling financial costs. And for the city as a whole, it's chaos. It's a severe disruption, especially when you remember that in these huge high-rises, elevators aren't a luxury. They're essential. And I really want to stress this. This is not a what-if scenario anymore. This is real. In 2023, the first recorded death of a person trapped in a flooded elevator happened in South Korea. That tragedy was a brutal, brutal wake-up call for everyone. It's the moment this theoretical risk became a deadly reality, and it's a flashing red warning light for every urban center out there. On top of the tragic human cost, the financial hit is just staggering. We're talking millions of dollars. Millions, just to repair or replace the systems for one high-rise elevator after one flood. For the people who own these buildings, for the insurance companies, this is an absolute ticking time bomb on their balance sheets. Okay, so it all sounds pretty bleak, I know. But here's the good news. It's not hopeless. Not at all. There are solutions. So let's shift gears a bit. Let's move away from the problem and start talking about the blueprint, about a global toolkit of strategies that are actually being used right now to make our cities safer. And this toolkit has a bunch of different layers. You've got the tech side, right? Smart detection systems like we just talked about. Then you've got the physical, structural stuff. Things like emergency pumps, waterproofing, all the electrical gear, even flood-proof doors for basements. But just as important, you have the human element. Actually educating the public, running evacuation drills, and having the right kind of insurance to handle the risk. It's a whole package. What's really interesting is that not everyone attacks this problem the same way. There are different philosophies. Take Japan. They often tend to be more reactive. They learn from disasters like the devastating 2011 tsunami, and then they build incredibly robust standards. Europe, on the other hand, tends to be more proactive. They focus on having super strict safety codes from the get-go, making sure everything is secure and waterproof before a disaster ever happens. Two different paths, but both are aiming for the same goal: resilience.
So, when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? I think it's this. We have to completely change how we think about elevators. They're not just a convenience, not just a nice little box that takes you upstairs. In the vertical cities we all live in now, they are a critical lifeline. And protecting that lifeline is absolutely central to building cities that can actually withstand what's coming.
Look, at the end of the day, it really just comes down to one simple, powerful truth. Our weather is getting more and more extreme. That's the new normal. And in this new normal, making sure our elevators are safe and reliable isn't some tiny niche issue for engineers to worry about. It has become an urgent global priority for all of us. And that really just leaves us with one last thing to think about. The tech exists. The strategies are out there. We know how to solve this problem. The only real question left is, do we have the will to actually use them before the next big storm hits? So I'll leave you with this. How prepared is your city?